Well, you hear about prescription drug addiction, but you may not realize some addicts are the people behind your pharmacy counter.
Tonight, KCTV5 investigative reporter Emily Sinovic reveals how some pharmacists and their drug addictions could be putting you at risk and what's being done to stop it.
We went through years of records in both Kansas and Missouri, where we found dozens and dozens of reports you might find alarming.
They're stealing them and either using them for personal use or they're actually selling them to other individuals. If you have your head in the sand and think that this problem isn't occurring in your state, then obviously you've missed the boat.
Alexandra Blasi oversees licensing and enforcement for pharmacies in the state of Kansas. Blasi says state inspectors check in with pharmacies at least once every 18 months.
We all know nationwide that the opioid epidemic is becoming a problem not just with consumers, but with other individuals.
On both sides of the state line, we found records of pharmacists self-administering drugs without a prescription. Methadone and opioids like hydrocodone. That's one of the most common, sometimes resulting in prescription errors, some stealing hundreds of pills over the course of a year, sometimes putting patients' health at risk.
A consumer will recognize that they've been shorted a medication or that there's been an error, and they will complain to our office. And in the process of that investigation, we will uncover that it wasn't actually a medication error that was just inadvertent, but it was a medication error caused by an impaired individual.
Sometimes maybe taking some of that medication for themselves.
Potentially.
Some pharmacists may lose their license, but in Kansas, some have the option of going through a 5-year rehab program. Ralph Holbrook, a pharmacist himself for more than 30 years, is now chairman of the Kansas Pharmacy Recovery Network. Do they ever use on the job?
Yes. And quite sometimes we have found folks who actually have gotten caught because their employer had a suspicion that there was a problem.
That they were impaired?
Yes.
While working in the
While
pharmacy?
working, yes.
When you hear about that,
Makes my knees shake.
He's had friends and coworkers who've been that addict behind the counter. What do you think is the biggest challenge going forward?
Identifying those that are underneath the radar. And if you've got anybody out there that's addicted who isn't getting treatment, it's not safe for the public, it's not safe for them.
The State Pharmacy Board says there have been cases when patients have suffered side effects from errors made by pharmacists who were impaired. We're talking about educated, accomplished pharmacists.
People have got a 6-year degree.
People you never would have guessed.
Right.
Getting to those pharmacists before that happens is what Holbrook says this recovery program hopes to do. For 5 years, those random drug tests, daily check-ins, temporary license suspension in many cases, but pharmacists who go through that process, he says, have a relapse rate of less than 15%.
For the person that knows what they're doing and is really looking for something, they'll figure out a way to get it.
Nothing you can do about it.
Nothing you can do about it, no.
According to the Missouri Board of Pharmacy newsletter, during fiscal year 2016, there were a total of 136 cases in which the board took disciplinary action. In 2016, there were 61 cases in Kansas. Right now, you can check your pharmacy and see those disciplinary reports for both Kansas and Missouri. Just go to our website at kctv5.com and click Found It on 5. I'm Emily Sinovic, KCTV5.